let's start with the Cowboys. Why do you think Brian Schottenheimer was hired as the new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Mike?
I think this was all about two things. One, Dak Prescott is under a contract that can't reasonably be exited for 3 more years. That's the result of the Cowboys painting themselves into a corner, not once, but twice in their negotiations with Dak. They drag their feet, they drag their feet, they drag their feet. And then when they finally wake up, they say, oh no, how do we get out of this mess? They woke up the first day of the regular season, $60 million a year, structured so it's 4 years where they're tied together. Dak wants continuity. He would have preferred Mike McCarthy. And that leads to the second reason, Rich. What happened was McCarthy's contract expired. Now, they say there was no negotiation. The deal fell apart, as I understand it, and common sense suggests, on the basic reality that the Cowboys wanted to do a short-term deal. McCarthy wanted a longer-term deal. That's the impasse that prevents hard negotiations from ever happening. Why would the Cowboys want a short-term deal? Because Jerry Jones doesn't want to pay someone to not work for him. He doesn't want to be tied to McCarthy because he almost consistently changes coaches when their contracts end, so he doesn't owe them any money to not work for the Cowboys. So McCarthy goes, what do? It's either Brian Schottenheimer or Kellen Moore. Either guy is somebody who has worked with Dak and can give Dak the continuity he wants, because it all starts and really ends with that quarterback relationship, because they can't get away from that contract for 3 more years. I think that's the explanation, plain and simple. Schottenheimer will be there as long as Dak is there, or unless they move on from Schottenheimer. If it's only a 2-year deal, then they'll promote the offensive coordinator for 1 year and then move forward. I think that's the simplest explanation. And the fact that they leaked it at 9:43 p.m. Eastern on a Friday night and announced it 2 minutes earlier, that tells you all you need to know. They know that this isn't the kind of hire that's going to get people excited to buy season tickets and jerseys and hats and otherwise pay attention to the Cowboys. It's going to drive fans away. And now yesterday was an effort to try to undo some of that damage.
What's your your ear to the ground on Deion? Was that just a phone call that got out, or was there any ever there between these two for this gig, Mike?
The Cowboys are masters of big-footing news cycles. The Dak Prescott contract. You were on the air. What happens? First morning of the first Sunday of the regular season, all of a sudden, Dak's got a deal. Don't talk about the games that are coming up at 1 o'clock Eastern. Talk about the Cowboys. When they parted ways with Jason Garrett 5 years ago, that news was leaked during an Eagles playoff game. During the game, they big-footed that game. So the Monday night playoff game, Vikings-Rams, boom, all of a sudden, everybody has the report that Deion and the Cowboys have spoken. And even for days after that, people were saying there's mutual interest. Jerry says yesterday, we just had a conversation. I think that was never going to happen. I think it was part of the idea of puffing up the balloon and getting people talking about the Cowboys. And I believe the reason there weren't more names of that same ilk and caliber and PR generation potential, I think they realized pretty quickly, we can't play this game of throwing all these big names out there and then say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we introduce you to the new coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Drum roll, please. Brian Schottenheimer.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.